Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Splenda, and you're listening to my dad, Rob McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. This is Hour 3 on the Starcom Radio Network for Wednesday, June the 3rd in the year 2015. Don't forget, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., my good friend Ed Till is on the Starcom Radio Network. This guy is a legendary broadcaster, and I'll tell you something. Listen to his show and kiss all the other daytime shows goodbye, and even, yes, Howard Stern himself, because this guy has got it way above Howard. That's the Ed Till Show, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. right here on the Starcom Radio Network. And we're on Starcom Monday through Friday, starting at 8 live each and every night. If you'd like to send an email, on air at xzoneradiotv.com. You can always listen to the X Zone shows at www.xzoneradiotv.com. And if you've missed any of our past shows, no need to worry, no need to fret. Just go to www.xzonearchives.com. Scroll down to the year you want to listen to, click on that, and then it'll give you the opportunity of listening to each and every show that month. And do you know what? It's with our compliments. That's because we're here on the fastest growing radio network anywhere. And I'm talking about our new home here on Starcom. My guest this hour is NITA HICKOK. I've had the pleasure of having NITA on the show before. We're going to be talking about astral healing, psychic warfare, and much more. Now, NITA is an expert in the removal of evil, protection from psychic warfare, soul healing, angelology, demonology, energy healing, long-distance healing, astral healing, and much more. NITA has been on the web for more than 14 years doing this work, and she's been doing this work all told for over 42 years. She has a good reputation, has helped many people around the world. She learned about demons and other methods to help protect others, so she is an eternal student and invents methods for other people to help them heal. Joining me now is NITA HICKOK. And NITA, welcome back to the X Zone.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
NITA, your road has been rather tough these past couple of years, and my thoughts and prayers are always with you, dear friend. How are you feeling, NITA?
I'm feeling better. It seems like the last week I've snapped out of my illness, and I'm actually able to do more. The medicine's taken effect.
I'm so happy to hear that. That's really great, NITA. Is there more and more psychic warfare going on in the world today?
Yes, there definitely is. I once moved to a small town in Arizona, and I had someone around me, and I mentioned what I did, and they were amazed, just in one small town, how many people were interested in that subject and had been doing that subject. And it's the same in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, the other places I live. There's a huge underground of people who do things like psychic warfare, study of witchcraft, magic, and they will never admit it. and a lot of them go to churches. They act like they would never study anything like that, and they do it anyway because they feel society is set against people who do that.
That's
who
not
study
true,
magic
though.
and that.
Yeah. You know, like, how does somebody know if they're under psychic attack? There must be something that you can tip our listeners off to in case they are being subjected to psychic attack this very moment.
The symptoms I have on my website, but also the main symptoms are you keep noticing things sort of appearing around you where you say, I just saw something, but there's nothing there, like shadows. Mm-hmm. You notice that for no reason people are getting upset and mad and angry at you while you're just sort of watching them do it, and they claim you said things you never said, or some other action like that where they're just acting irrational. Another way is you notice that you are having nightmares in your sleep. You're always being chased by something. Some people are chased up and down stairs. Some people are chased through rooms. But most of the time, a dream where you're being chased is an indication that there's something after you. Another indication of spirits being around is things vanishing around the house, hearing strange things, including voices. Other things is many people have latent psychic abilities. Everybody's psychic, and sometimes when someone does psychic warfare on the person, they actually see the person doing it and hearing them chant or say the spells that they're doing to hurt them. Another indication is pinches, scratch marks. That's for spirits being sent at you. For voodoo, you go and will see different colored powders on your doorsteps that will have effects on you when you walk over them. You also will see and hear different spirits, like not only the dark shapes of them, but they actually will make candles blow up, light bulbs blow up, all sorts of weird effects.
So there's a lot of, seems like, physical manifestation when it comes to this type of negativity that people are using one against the other.
Yeah, there is. Sometimes it's milder, but most of the time, if the person keeps trying, the longer it goes, the more physical manifestations. Now, most people don't want to admit anything like this exists, so they'll ignore a light bulb blowing up or something happening and saying, well, that was strange, the wiring might be bad, and they'll just take the light bulb out and screw in another light bulb. They'll say, I must need glasses when they see something out of the corner of their eyes and they have their eyes checked and they haven't changed. People always try to make excuses to make it so it's something rational, but it's totally irrational once it happens to you. And if you tell people, the first thing they're going to say to you is, are you schizophrenic or bipolar? Are you having paranoid delusions? And if you're over 40, you can't, and you haven't been diagnosed with being schizophrenic or bipolar, then it isn't going to happen to you. If you end up going and having something like a delusion or that, then you know that you end up going and having it so that you wouldn't have other people go and see that happening, shall we say.
So how can people protect themselves against these psychic attacks, Nita?
The main way is to go and make it where they I guess the best thing is prayer is a good way to do it. Having crosses around the house if you're Christian. If you're Muslim, there's a hand of Fatima on the door. If you're Jewish, there's a Hamsa hand on the door. It's with Hindu, it's different. Every religion has some sort of basic cure for that. It's just something that everybody developed over the years. So you end up going and being sure that you're not going to go and have those problems. If you're into voodoo, there's all sorts of powders or oils, but then you'd be expecting something like this more anyway.
So what do you suggest? There's prevention that we talked about, but what happens if a person is actually under attack right this very minute? What can they do? And what danger are they in?
The cheapest and easiest thing to do is if you're under attack when you're in your house and it's something trying to come in from the outside, then you go and encircle the whole house and salt.
Salt?
Yep, simple old salt. You pray over the salt, ask that God bless it, and it keeps away all the evil of Sodom and Gomorrah and of every other problem in the Bible.
What was your attraction to the occult?
The first thing that happened was when I was 16. I had a friend who was into astrology and that, and her mother worked in the casinos in Las Vegas. I grew up in Las Vegas, and she met a couple that was doing testing for the Rhine Institute, and my friend wanted to be tested. And they wanted to test her because she was blind, and they wanted to see if she was clairvoyant or not, and if, she could develop it where she could go and see where she was walking, because they'd done that with a couple other people, and it was, something that they were able to test for. So, all in all, we went there. I was the one that was driving, and they tested me and her both because of the fact, since I was driving, they figured, well, might as well test another person. So they hypnotized me, and the first thing they did was do cards. And I missed every card, but I was correct the next card up, which meant I was a precognitive clairvoyant, because once they put one card on the bottom, I had 100 right.
How does that work?
52 right. 100 right. They did 100 tests on the cards, and I was doing each card before the card that they picked, and each card after the card they picked.
So what's the physiology behind it? How are you able to know this?
Basically, some people just have more of their talents open than other people. So they end up having it where their talents and abilities make it so that they are able to just see it. I'd been seeing things since I was 3 years old. Was the first time my family mentioned it, because I had eye surgery for being cross-eyed. I had my eyes bandaged. I'd just been sick. I was allergic to sulfa. They gave it to me, and I had a net over the crib. And I actually got out of the crib without undoing the net, walked over to the doorway, dodged the nurses in the hallway, and met my parents at the elevator and said I wanted to go home.
Really?
My mom bribed me with a music box, never to do anything like that again. And I went and thought, well, if I'm being bribed not to do it, then it must be something I can do. And I got in trouble. I've been baptized 5 times because of being clairvoyant.
Because people thought that you were possessed by an evil spirit?
My mother was very religious, so I kept getting baptized. The last time I thought they were going to hold me underwater, so I quit saying what I saw, because they, I was right, and that's what scared them. It wasn't I was wrong, I was right. The first time I told my mom that, my grandmother came and talked to me and said she wasn't mad at me anymore for what I did to the wallpaper. I ruined the wallpaper before I left Michigan. I was always a mischievous kid, and I didn't mean to. But she said she wasn't mad at me anymore, and that she died and she wasn't going to see me again. So I started crying, and I went in crying and said to my mother, Grandma appeared. She said she wasn't mad at me anymore, but she's dead now, and she can't see me anymore to tell me. And my mom gave me a spanking and a half, and then she got the phone call saying my grandmother died, and that got me a baptism.
Wow.
So it's the fact that people are right, and most children shut it down. But I always sort of credit the music box and the fact that things kept happening where I was right for the reason that I never really shut it down. I just learned to keep my mouth shut.
Wow.
So 16, I never knew there was any books like that about the occult. My mother had me in Bible school for every day of the week. Mm-hmm. And I never knew there was any books like that about things like that until my friend. And when they tested me after I missed, after I did that with the cards, and they say, oh, she's seeing one card ahead. And that's interesting because they hadn't gotten a precognitive clairvoyant before. And under hypnosis, I wasn't under hypnosis for the cards. They said, what's in our desk drawer? And there was an antique garnet brooch, and I described it, including the cotton in the small box. And the lady who was questioning me didn't know what it was because her husband had just got it for a gift. And they asked me what my lifetimes were.
What your lifetimes were?
They did one for past lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lifetime as a Mongol warrior, believe it or not. And I spoke ancient Mongolian, and they had a tape recording of it. And I don't have the tape recording anymore. It was on the old tape where the metallic stuff fell off, Mm-hmm. So I don't have the tape anymore. But they called up my mom and said that they wanted to continue testing me and I could make money doing it. And she hadn't realized that they had done that in the first place. And I was only 16, and she raised a fit and said her daughter was not going to be a freak and didn't let me end up being tested, was just mad at me and mad at my friend's mother. So but that was when I got interested in the occult, because they mentioned all these different books about it and what I could be reading and not reading.
So when it comes to the occult, should people steer away from it, or is it a part of the natural or unnatural world that we just don't fully understand yet?
I think that physics will develop a way to measure it, because a lot of energy healing is all vibrations, mm-hmm. frequencies, notes, and keys, and physics has just discovered that everything vibrates and moves, which was also discovered years ago by psychics and occultists. And there's a book called The Kybalion, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, that has one of the laws is everything vibrates. And physics just has it where it's discovered and is there as a theory.
Are you finding more and more people are contacting you with a greater interest in spiritual encounters, psychic warfare, and are seeking you out for the astral healings that you do?
Most of the time, what I've been getting a lot of lately, it used to be more psychic warfare, like with magic or people that were interested and had other people around that would do something like that to them. But now it's energy vampires and psychic vampires. I get more people who are having problems with that than anything else, it seems like. It's a worldwide problem where people say other people are mm-hmm. draining them of their energy.
Does the amount of television coverage that these fantasy shows that are all over the screens, are they leading to people calling you up about psychic vampires, or is it something else that's going on?
I really sort of think it's something else going on. I know your show is open to things like this, but I've sure had people go and sort of look at me like, well, she just went and, proved she was sort of nutty. But I really think that it's an interdimensional attack. I think a lot of this that's going on right now, that the demons and other things that we said were evil are interdimensional. And they can't exist in this dimension, but they try to possess something or influence something of this dimension. And that's where pacts, permissions, all that stuff of legend came in, because they try to go and make it where the person willingly accepts them. And if you look at the way everything is set up on summoning anything, even angels are interdimensional. See? But demons definitely are, and they seem to have worlds existing in that other dimension, but they can't connect to our world and live on this world except through someone else that lives on this world or something else. So that also goes and puts in the tales of possession of people and animals, that something else is taking them over. And I really think that it's something trying to hook all these people together, and that's why their energies are being drained, and they drain other people's energies. I think some people have a tendency towards this more than other people, where they don't mind going and taking what other people are, because everybody nowadays projects an image of themselves that they want others to believe. And we have like a third of our population are narcissists, which would be easy for something to try to say, well, if I am around, I will help you do this and that. And it can be on a certain subconscious level too. It could be in acceptance and dreams. It seems like it's varied, but the victims of these people always say it's like there's a huge crowd of them. Like every time they try to go and get rid of them, they keep multiplying and multiplying. So I think it's really more of an interdimensional invasion. Everybody thinks of aliens and that coming in spaceships. But shamans have been able to walk between worlds, and those are different realities of worlds that are touching on our world of legend and everything else. There's no reason that another dimension couldn't be doing this in our energy system through the vibrations of our molecules and atoms.
All right, stand by, Nita. We've got to take a short break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation Nita Hickok is our special guest. www.astralhealer.com, and be sure to visit her store on her website at astralhealer.com/store.html. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We're live right here on the Starcom Radio Network, Monday through Friday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's also a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Nita Hickok and I will be back on the other side of this break. Whatever you do, don't go away.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com.
NITA HICKOK is an expert in exorcisms, psychic warfare, soul healing, angelology, soul retrieval, demonology, energy healing, long-distance healing, astral healing, and much more. NITA is an interfaith minister because she believes all gods and goddesses are valid and that they are part of one divine force that is incomprehensible to us who are incarnated upon this earth. NITA has been doing astral healing, distant healing, spirit release, exorcism, house cleansing and blessings, soul restoring and revival, psychic vampire removal and curse removal, and much more for over 40 years. For more information or to contact NITA HICKOK, visit her website at www.astralhealer.com. That's www.astralhealer.com.
Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
The Alien Cosmic Expo will be held in Brantford, Ontario, June 26, 27, 28, and will feature 24 internationally acclaimed experts and researchers of UFOs, crop circles, alien abductions, and much more in this 3-day 2015 summer Canadian event. Experts in the field of extraterrestrials and alien encounters, out-of-body experiences, past life regression, soul reading, psychic, and mediumship will all be presented with professionalism, integrity, and credibility, making the Alien Cosmic Expo the largest event of its kind in Canada for 2015. The exhibitor hall will feature a spectacular lineup of gifted mediums, psychics, astrologers, channelers, aura-photography, healers, as well as books, DVDs, alternative health products, crystals, jewelry, and much more, completing the venue with something for everyone. For all information and to purchase your tickets for the Alien Cosmic Expo, go to www.aliencosmicexpo.com. That's www.aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hi, this is Ken Elliott. When I'm floating around the universe, I always try to tune in to Rob McConnell.
Hi there, Timothy Frog on Sesame Street. When I want to find out what's going on with UFOs or ghosts, I listen to the X Zone with Rob McConnell.
This is Les Corrigan from Target Internet Development. You're listening to Rob McConnell on the X Zone Radio Show.
This is John Hogue, Prophecy Scholar, and you're listening to Rob McConnell in the X Zone.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. Just a heads up on tomorrow night's show. I'll be speaking to Dan Perkins, Dr. Don Preston. We're going to be talking about Bible prophecies. That's tomorrow, the second hour. In hour number 3, my good friend Corey Kay and I will be investigating the claims. Are you ready for this? Of the planet Serpo. As well as, is it possible that ET entities are actually working behind the scenes with the shadow government? That's tomorrow night here on the X Zone on the Starcom Radio Network. NITA HICKOK is our guest. Her website, astralhealer.com, and her extensive online store is astralhealer.com/store.html. In your opinion, NITA, what is the most dangerous aspect of the occult in today's society?
That no one seems to know what evil is. That they seem to think that if you do good and think good, bad things won't happen to you. All you have to do is be around the wrong people you're learning from, use the wrong methods, believe the wrong information, and you end up having problems for years.
What about these kids who start dabbling in witchcraft? How dangerous is that?
It sort of depends on what they're doing and what they aren't doing. Some things like, like herbs to protect the house, incense, burning candles. That isn't always bad. What I always feel is it's the intent of what you do and the cause and effect that happens afterwards. Now, really, they're more protected in a standard religion. But everybody reads all this stuff nowadays. They have information. And most of the time, what you see the most on the web is curses. Now, when I was a teenager, there was girls there that had been put down by, say, the cheerleaders, and they would have gladly gone to one of those websites and done something to make that cheerleader go bald.
Sure. So now it's just like electronic bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, so there's also bullying and that sort of stuff too. So it really depends. If they're just reading on it, they only do stuff like to pass an exam, pass a grade, or they do something where it's to improve themselves. It's not bad. It's what they do with it, what ethics they have that'll go and make the most effect on their future. If they're doing it to curse people, to go and make it so things turn bad for someone, any of the things that would be considered wrong to do, they really have a chance of causing themselves so much trouble over the years that it's horrible.
So what about Halloween, when kids get dressed up as ghosts, goblins, witches, pumpkins? Are some kids actually opening up a porthole to the other side by imitating certain characters?
Not really. Not if, I don't see it that way. I mean, if they could open a porthole up to get more candy, that's most kids. But, I don't really go and see it like they are doing it that much.
Over the years, you've done exorcisms, am I correct?
Yeah.
What was the scariest exorcism that you have ever conducted?
I was in a house in California. It's the first one I ever did. And the woman had been doing witchcraft spells to go and get a rock star to be her boyfriend. This was in California in the 70s. And she was the head of the fan club, and she thought she had done it. And the rock star committed suicide when his girlfriend left him, which is what she'd been doing spells to do. And I really didn't have much sympathy for her, but her young son all of a sudden started seeing something that he called a golden man, and it was molesting him.
Really?
Yep, actual physical signs of being molested, and she did not have a boyfriend or any male around that would do that to him. And she watched and made sure that no one could be doing it to him, and he was still complaining and saying that was happening in his sleep. And I went and, the group leader tried to get rid of it. They didn't get rid of it. And I mouthed off to the group leader and said, well, with what she did, it's going to be almost impossible to get rid of. And he went and says, well, you and your friend go and try getting rid of it then, since you're the two that are so judgmental about it. And so we went and tried to get rid of it, and I went and got out of her what sort of stuff she had done. I'm not going to state what she did. And I collected all the material that she had buried from what she did, and I went and I set it in a place where it could be burned. I had a big metal pot, and we were doing it in a house that had bars on the windows. The windows were open, and the doors were locked, and there was 4 or 5 other people. And I set that stuff on fire, and the next thing I knew, it was like I was somewhere in flames.
Wow.
And there was a figure in flames talking to me, and there's a lot more, but I vanished off the face of the earth for 4 hours. From the middle of that living room, out of that house with the barred windows and locked doors, and everybody was there looking for me, trying to figure out where I was. And my friend was clinging to my purse crying because he was going to have to drive home, and he didn't know how to drive and was just basically having a meltdown. And all of a sudden I appeared out of nowhere and landed on him. And I had red burned skin, my eyes were burned, and all my hair was singed off. And I remember a lot of those experiences, and that's what's been fueling me for years, trying to figure out where I went, what happened. Where I went was, something I remembered. I didn't have the vocabulary to describe it until physics caught up with wormholes and some of the other stuff. The closest was in Jewish literature, where they talk about a Merkaba that can travel different dimensions and places to reach God. But I sure didn't go to God. I was on the other side for a while. Then I ended up with God. But the thing is I had an experience and a half that I really was afraid to tell anybody. I figured they'd think I was nuts. But I got done with that. The young child wasn't getting molested anymore, but the spirit was still there. And they tried selling the house, and it ended up on one of the shows where they were asking for it to meet the first exorcist that had tried to get rid of the things in the house. I just saw it on rerun. So they were still having problems with that house. But after doing that and having that happen, and I couldn't even describe it to my friend said one thing. He says, well, look, if that happened with the first one you did, the rest of them ought to be easy. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, he's probably right. How many times can you be blown off the face of the earth?
That's
and
true.
It sort of cheered me up a little bit. And I've had strange things happen since then, but that was the most dangerous out of all of them. And I had to have medicine given me for the burnt skin, and, having my hair burned off wasn't any fun. And eyebrows, everything just burned off.
When we think of movies like The Exorcist, how close to reality are those movies when it comes to the demonic possession? Does the room get cold? Is there the vile smell? Does the person who is possessed Do they contort their body into strange shapes? Is there levitation? Do you see the demonic entities?
Most of the time, you don't see any of those things until the person is actually being exorcised. Exorcism is a term that's really designed for priests. And their exorcism method should not be used unless you're a priest, because it's all the faith in your vestments and in your vows that go and make it where it works for the priest. So no one else should go and use that method. What I would do would be more of a banishing, a transmutation, But most of the time with me, I have not seen that much beforehand with the person. They only do it in certain times to scare the people they're around. But I have seen them levitate. I have seen things thrown across the room, flying in the air. I have seen things catch on fire that weren't really on fire. I have had walls in the house move, breathe, be knocked around. I've had people picked up and thrown off a wall. That was in Jamaica. And I've had all sorts of things happen. But most of the time with my methods, after the first time, I tried to develop ways where I didn't get sucked off the face of the earth or hurt again. So I have my own set methods, and that's on my website. I have a self-banishing with a salt triangle, and that's the simplest thing for people.
Why does salt work?
Salt absorbs negative ions. Now, most people think this makes it where salt stores evil. No, it doesn't. It absorbs the negative ions, and it's like it's self-cleansing in a lot of ways. So if you use salt, it absorbs everything, and it creates a barrier where anything that tries to cross it that's of negative vibrations gets disassembled, is the only way to put it, because each speck of salt draws it in, so it's no longer one solid thing. It's just a bunch of little fragments, and it can't form if it tries to cross it.
Does it matter if the salt is sea salt or mine salt or ionized salt?
Most of the time I like kosher salt, but sea salt would probably be better. The salt for water conditioners is good too, the great big chunk salt.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Iodized salt's probably my least favorite out of all of them, but you can get a bag of the water heater salt, and and you can do a lot with it.
When you're an interfaith minister.
Yeah.
Does that give you extra protection?
Not really. What it does is make it where I can accept everyone of every religion without trying to convert them.
Ah, gotcha.
Because most of the people resent it if somebody says, we'll get rid of it, but you have to turn Christian to do it. See? Or and that's mainly it, because most of the people doing this are reborn Christians and hardcore Christians, and a lot of the people were not getting help because everybody was trying to say, well, you have to turn Christian to do this. So you would see Muslims, you would see other people that would not want anything to do with them because they wouldn't change their religion. Now, every religion has, I call them children of the book, but the Muslim, the Jewish, and the Christian religion all have it in the Old Testament, which was Jewish in the first place, that their children can cast out demons. It wasn't only Jesus that did it, and that their children would be seers and prophets, which means clairvoyant and be able to see the future and prophecy. So it has it where there's some things in there that are just sort of like a given. So it means all members of those three religions can banish things. And most people think it's only Christianity. The Muslim religion has ways to banish evil. The Jewish religion has ways to clean up a house and, have things blessed. Christianity, the most literature on it. If you're Hindu, there's over 5 million gods and goddesses you can call on to go and get things done. So it makes it where I don't have to say to anybody, you have to convert to Christianity to do this. I can try to structure it according to their belief system, because if you do not structure it according to their belief system, a lot of them have a sort of resentment or barrier up where it doesn't work as well with them. But
is the religious aspect strictly for the person to feel more comfortable? Because if I understand how demonic presence and demonic possession works, it has nothing to do with the faith of the person. It has everything to do with the evil access or the evil entity.
Yeah. Now, evil seems to, everybody thinks it's like some big thing, but it seems to enter through molecules and the vibrations, like at the back of the neck, which is the exit of the soul, the front by the heart chakra, which is the seat of the soul, the crown, and the third eye. So a person that is resentful, it gives evil more to work with. The whole thing is to establish a connection to the divine creator by whatever name the person calls them, where they accept it. And without that resentment, with the acceptance of the connection, it's like they build a connection, which all of us have, to the divine creator, and then it comes down into them and vibrates the molecules in a different way, and evil leaves.
I read on your website somewhere that you know about earth magic. What is earth magic?
Earth magic is the stuff of this earth. It's basic witchcraft. When I was studying in a mystery school, I was learning the basic earth magic, witchcraft, and the hermetic magic, ritual magic. So I was doing both at the same time, and I believe this gives me more flexibility. It's the stuff where you burn rosemary to go and protect your home. You sprinkle rosemary and marjoram under your threshold, and no evil will pass. You put a mirror above your door, and anything evil will see itself reflected in it and flee. Little verses to help yourself to shield your house. By that meaning you build up a shield of energy that vibrates where evil cannot come in.
Right.
You spread bay leaves to change the vibrations of ghosts where they can't materialize. That's earth magic.
For a minute there, I thought you were cooking a stew.
Yeah, it would. It tastes pretty good, but it's all just basic cooking herbs, a lot of it. So, you can do simple stuff to help yourself. Like if you have a ghost, you put bay leaves around, and bay leaves will get rid of cockroaches, bugs, and ghosts.
Oh, my.
It'll make it where the ghost can't go and materialize enough to scratch you.
Do you get scratched a lot?
No.
No? How come?
Most of the time, after that first experience, I decided nothing was going to get at me again.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, Nita, we've got a couple of minutes left. In fact, we have less than 2 minutes. So tell our listeners how they can find out more about you and what they can find at your store.
I have information on my website about me. I have real references from real people, and in my store are some MP3s that I have been doing and what I've done, you have to train your voice where it works on all levels to get rid of a spirit with the vibrations. So it's nothing to change their brain waves. It's nothing to influence them mentally. What it does is it changes the vibrations. And my MP3s, I have a free Divine Blessings MP3 that people can listen to if they want to do so. But the other ones are for sale, and I tried to do it on things that most people have problems with, and I'm still doing them.
Nita, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure talking to you. I'm so happy that you're feeling better, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone. Until then, take care, my friend.
Thank you, Rob.
X Zone Nation, NITA HICKOK has been my guest this hour. And just to go over a few things, X Zone Nation, on tomorrow night's show, Dan Perkins is going to be joining me in hour number 1. Hour number 2, Dr. Don K. Preston and I will be discussing Bible prophecies and how the paranormal works either with or against the Bible. Hour number 3, Corey K. and I will be discussing the planet Serpo. And on Friday, so far, we have Doug Elwell. We're going to be talking to him about the riddle of the Sphinx. And we'll also have Butch Witkowski talking to us about UFOs. All this here in the X Zone on the Starcom Radio Network. Well, that's it for tonight, everyone. I want to take this opportunity of thanking all my guests tonight. Brad Olson, Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Randall, and, of course, NITA HICKOK. Now, we're all part of this little planet called Earth. We're here to help each other. So if you can, whether it's giving some canned food to the food bank, blankets, clothing that you don't use anymore to the shelters, or even dipping into your pocket to help out with their various drives because they need money to help. That's all we can do is help each other. So until tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, when once again we cross the time-space continuum, for the X Zone and the X Zone Radio Show and rel-mar McConnell Media Company, I am Rob McConnell. And always remember, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.